I'm Kevin Coleman with Football Guys, and we are back. And what we like to do on the YouTube channel here at Football Guys is talk about a little Dynasty. So we're going to do something a little bit new. As we've gone over buys and sells last couple of weeks that I've kind of dived into, hey, what should you do? Player value. If you haven't checked those out, I would. They still hold in terms of where the guys that I told you to go get, the guys I told you to sell. But today we're going to be talking about your rookie picks. And so we're getting right into rookie season. We have some great stuff coming for you here at Football Guys. But today we're going to be talking about how you should value your 2023 rookie picks, talk a little bit about the tiers that we're seeing right now. And then we're going to dive into, I'm going to show you some actual trades that you can maybe utilize in your rookie drafts or in your dynasty leagues to help you with value. So that's the point here. Actionable content, value, showing you real trades, showing you value and talking into it. So let's dive in. All right, let's go over first how you should rebuild, right? So now I've shown you guys this before. Now I would pause the screen and so you can see where it'll value your picks. But I talked about this with one of my rebuild videos on the channel. EK Baller is the guy that you can find him on Twitter that he designed this. He's an amazing guy. So go take a look. I want to give him credit. But if you look right here, this values where your picks are. So you're going to see kind of where can I extract the most value? So when you see 5 and 4s, that's when you want to sell your picks. So if you see where we're at right now, so we're getting the combine hype, peak value kind of getting in there, like in terms of where your picks are, like we're getting close. Now, the Senior Bowl is this week as this video is going to be playing. Then, you know what, when we get to the combine, right? So those are when you're really going to see peak value. So just to understand where your player pick value is, use this chart because it hits everything on the head. Then as soon as you start getting into the draft season and the students start seeing you're on the clock in rookie drafts, that's when you really dive into that pick value. So right now, we're probably at the 3-ish, 4 mark, like in terms of your pick value. So I would hesitate to sell picks unless there's a deal you just can't pass up right now. So just to give you an idea of what you should be thinking about, right? So this is an idea of like, all right, where am I at in terms of this, especially for you for your dynasty managers? I think the biggest thing I want to just convey to you guys, like I'm here to help, like especially, hey, seasoned managers, that's great. But I do know here at Football Guys that we have a lot of first-year dynasty managers, and that player value stuff can be really tough to navigate. Like, hey, where is the value? Where is it coming from, right? So that is kind of the chart to use. That's the chart I first started using when I first coming up in Dynasty. Obviously, I played Dynasty before, but it did help me with values, right? Now, let's talk about the tiers. So where are we at in our rookie tiers right now before all the pre-draft stuff and everything? So first tier is going to be Bijan Robinson. Like, that's the 101. There's one player getting taken. Every 101s where it's at. It's Bijan. He's going to be a top 3 dynasty asset as soon as you come out of the play. So he's an elite dynasty asset already. That's going to hold his value as a running back, right? So that's how you need to basically value the 101. Now, I'm going to show you some deals. I'm going to talk to you guys about the 101 a little later on where he's at, but that's the first tier, right? That is number 1 tier where he's at. Then the second tier. So here's where we've seen our second tier at. And I added names to this because at this point, your analyst should be adding names to every pick. I've been trying to do that all off season all in season with the big board that I've been doing for Football Guys. Like there is no just saying, hey, early first, that's a disservice to you. Now, this is what's going on in terms of the next basically 4 picks. You got CJ and Bryce interchangeable. Really, at super flex, that's what we're looking at. Then you have Gibbs and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Really, that's the second tier. And really, that's really the cut line in terms of like the value pick. So if you're looking at your picks and you're sitting at 106 or later, really what you want to try to do is get into that 102, 105 range, right? So maybe pair early second with a 107 and get in there to go get your quarterback in super flex. Or, hey, you really believe in Gibbs, you want to get up into that market. That's where the market's at right now. That's the tiers. This has literally been the ADP. I do rookie mocks pretty much every night. You can follow me on Twitter. There's my @ And we do these every single night. And this is the first 5 guys going every single time. So this is where I'm getting you from the Dynasty community, but in terms of just value, you're getting real life ADP right now for me, right? Then the next tier. So when we see the next tier, it's 106, 108. And this is what I like to say is my wild card tier. Quentin Johnston, he might be in that 102, 105 here if he's the first wide receiver off the board. But right now, there's a little bit of question marks about his drops, his catching ability, all those type of things. Jordan Addison, what do we think Jordan Addison is going to be moving forward, right? Like, hey, there's some question about long speed, separation issues, things like that. And then Anthony Richardson's the big one. And whether you think Anthony Richardson should be a first-round pick or not, no one cares. Like in terms of, like, I see a lot of analysts say, well, he's not good. First of all, he is a very solid prospect in terms of what we're looking at for upside. And he's a fantasy prospect, right? So when we're looking at rushing upside, those things are there. Anthony Richardson's fallen into those tiers. That's where he's at. So again, if an analyst is out here saying that he's not good, he doesn't deserve to be a first rounder, quite frankly, they're wrong. They're just wrong in terms of that value and where you see it. Right now, he is. If he gets first round draft capital, he's going to be in this probably this third tier, or I've seen him go as high as 103, 104, 105. Now, if you don't like him, that works for you because some of these other guys are going to drop into these extra tiers. Imagine JSN in this tier, right? But you have to put him in there. It's a disservice to people if you don't. So that's where Anthony Richardson is right now based on that. Then you're going to have that 109 and 112 tier. So here's what I'm going to tell you. This is where we're kind of seeing this, but they're very interchangeable. No one really knows what the running back 3 is right now. You got Zach Evans, Tank Bigsby, Zach Charbonnet. Will Levis is in there. Sometimes Josh Downs gets thrown in there. But this is the tier where I would try to move back into the 24 class. So if I can get an actual asset, so when you're at the 109 and 112, don't just trade it for a 24 first random. Like, don't do that. That's not good Dynasty. But if you could try to get a piece you can plug in now and play this year, an auxiliary piece, maybe you tier a couple tiers down, right? So when I say tier down, you look at your big board and your tiers and you say, okay, I understand that this is 109 and 112. I put Bigsby as like running back 22. Okay, I'm going to tier down to a wide receiver 3 that I like. Let's say Jacoby Myers or one of these guys looking at rankings. You go to Footballguys rankings. I'll trade for that guy plus a 24 first. And then I have someone to plug in. And I always say try to tier down for wide receivers because I think the ceiling is better there, especially in the flex, right? Then you're going to get a 24 first, which has legitimately running back 1, quarterback 1, wide receiver 1, and Marvin Harrison Jr. You're looking at Caleb Williams, looking at, Travion Henderson, Raheem Sanders, whoever you like there. And then, Brock Bowers, who's probably the best tight end there. If you get that value, that's where I would value it. So this is the tier where I maybe would move back into the 24, but get that auxiliary piece. Never just trade straight up for a 24 first, in my opinion, unless you know for sure it's going to be a top 5 pick in that 24 class, right? Like, know your league. But I always want to try to get that auxiliary piece and look to tier down. Now, like I said, we're going to go over value as well. So I'm trying to give you guys tiers where the value's at and where I would kind of move, and then just talk about some players in those values as well. So first and foremost, 2023 early first value. So who are some guys out there that are kind of getting traded for this pick around there? So Travis Etienne is one. Depending on where you think Etienne is, he's from Dynasty 5 all the way to 12. I think he's Footballguys Dynasty 8 right now. So he's getting valued there. Ken Walker III is getting valued for an early first. Now, I probably wouldn't move Ken Walker unless I could get the 101 in some kind of deal, but that's who's getting value there. T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson. So there's 4 guys around that early first that's getting valued. Now, not probably, maybe straight up, maybe not. I'm going to show you some trades in a minute, but that's kind of where that is going. Then the mid-first. So 2023 mid-first value. So who's going there? Josh Jacobs is a big candidate there. Austin Eckler. I will say this about Eckler. Moore is coming over from Dallas. So the former offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, he's going to come to Chargers. I worry about Eckler in that case. I like Moore, but I don't think that he's going to highlight what Eckler does well, especially on the goal line, those touchdowns and the catches. Like, I think they can maybe limit his usage a little bit. They might draft a running back in this draft. They've been mocked a couple guys, even Bijan, right? So if you worry about that, Eckler might be a good guy to kind of move on from in that mid-first range, plus an asset, right? Don't just trade him for a straight mid-first, but that's a guy there. Cooper Kupp is getting valued here, and so is Mark Andrews. So just to kind of give you the value of guys going around there. And then when you look at the 2023 late first value, Ramondre Stevenson, Brandon Ayuk, George Pickens, Nick Chubb. If you could probably get, George Pickens, if you could trade George for a late first, if you're looking at the wide receivers, you like Kayshon Boutte, who I didn't mention up above because we just don't know what's going on with his pre-draft process. If you like a Josh Downs, maybe you want a running back like Tank, he gets second-round draft capital, third-round draft capital, then okay, I could see that, right? Nick Chubb, again, his value's all over the place. I'd probably be more of a contender move for me if I'm a contender, ship a late first for Chubb and ride it out and then ride his career out. But that's kind of the value that's going right there, right? That's kind of the value. Now, I want to show you, so we're going to talk about the 101 value a little bit. If you check out my last Footballguys article, it's a big board. So it says off-season big board. I give a bunch of 101 trades that have happened, right? So some of them I'm just going to throw out real quick. The DJ Moore in the 101 for the 102 and the 105, right? So again, they're trying to basically give someone there. The 101 for Tua and the 112, right? Again, if you're worried about Tua, you have a late round pick, you want to get up in that 101 mark, you want to take Bijan, or you're looking for a quarterback, that's a way to kind of get out of the Tua deal. 101 for Garrett Wilson in the 107. So again, you're going to get a elite wide receiver dynasty and get in the 107. But again, I just told you the tiers you want to stay in. 107 is not a bad tier not to be out of, right? So we're talking about the QJ, Jordan Addison, Anthony Richardson tier, but I would like to stay in that 105 area, right? So just in value where it's at. Now, I'm going to show you some deals that actually happen. So I crowdsourced this just to kind of show you, okay? So here's one that I generally like. So if we're talking about just 105. So this guy paired 105 and Pickens for Metcalf and Higgins. This was my favorite deal of this. This is the way to do it. You're on the outside of that second tier. Not outside, but kind of the tail end of that second tier. You get Pickens, who's getting valued pretty much all over the board. I think he's wide receiver 20 on Keep Trade Cut. You get Metcalf and Higgins for that. All board. Now, I don't know if you can make this deal in Dynasty, but someone did, right? So this is to kind of give you a starting ground of like, where am I at? Especially if you're new to the format. Hey, where's that value at? But that is kind of how you Dynasty. Another one that I like to see here, okay, 108. So this guy received the 108, but the guy, gave him the 108, got Mike Evans in a second, 24 and 4 second. Love this. Buy low on Evans. 108's outside the tier that I'm kind of worried about. It's definitely on that 108-ish. Anthony Richardson, what's he going to be? And you get a second back for Evans, and if you're a contender, I don't mind buying it for that, right? That is that's a good deal there. Another one that I saw that I really like. So this is where I was going to show you. Again, he got the 24 first for the 110. He didn't get an auxiliary piece. I would like to have thrown him an auxiliary piece in there. He didn't, but he still got the 24 first there. He might be a contender. Maybe he just says, hey, I'll take my shot on 24 first. Maybe he has multiple first. But I want to show you that what I'm telling you to do is actually actionable. It's something that people are doing out there, right? Another one that I like, and again, this is really depends on what side you're at. I actually like the Waddle side here. They get the 202 and Waddle. And then the other manager got Olave and the 108. Now, if you believe in Olave and you think he's going to take off, they're going to get that quarterback upgrade, and then you get the 108. I really don't see a loser in this deal. I actually like that they got the 202 back because the 202 is kind of interesting, especially that's like top 14 guys in this class. That second level is pretty good. Like when you're looking at the big board where I have right now, you got Kayshawn in there, Josh Downs, Kendre Miller, Michael Mayer is probably there, Jalen Hyatt, Sean Tucker, those type of guys, in that area. So when you're looking at this draft, I think this is a good deal for both sides, to be honest. I like the Waddle side. I like the Olave side. It really just depends on, makeup. Here's another one, the 108 for Ramondre Stevenson. So I want to show you this because Ramondre is one of these guys that I have Dynasty 12 running back right now in my rankings. But if you can if you feel like you need that running back, you're like, hey, I believe in Ramondre. He can be a top running back 1 next year. At 108, I feel like it's kind of that borderline tier where I can move him. That's where you go, right? Those are kind of the differences into the trades. Another one that I like, and this is probably my favorite, besides the other Higgins one, but again, Higgins is in here. So this guy sent Cole Kmet, which to me is not really a guy that I'd be actively trying to buy. The 110 and the 103 for Higgins and Pitts. I absolutely love this deal. Like, I think Pitts is a really good buy low right now. I think Higgins is a pretty good buy low right now. I think he's still a top 12 wide receiver. 103, I mean, you're not getting Bijan, you're not getting one of the quarterbacks. But if you need a quarterback there and then you feel like, hey, the 110, I think this is good value, but I'm still smashing the Pitts and Higgins side. And this is kind of how you do. If you have a couple multiple firsts, you're outside that tier at the 110, like I keep talking about and harping on. Kmet, whatever with Kmet. If I'm going to get Pitts back, I'll take Pitts all day. And in that 103 with Higgins, I think that's appropriate value like I've been talking about. But that's a pretty good deal right here for Higgins and Pitts and a smash move to go try to win it, right? That's why we're here. Like my buddy Nick Scripps says, play to win, right? Now, last one here, and I wanted to kind of mention this one, Derek Carr and the 204. I think right now I've seen Carr get moved a lot in terms of like the super flex landscape. This is super flex for the mid-second round picks. If you need a quarterback right now, especially if you're your QB 2 or 3, you really want to solidify that roster spot, especially right now with like we don't know where Carr's going, so his value is still low. I love this deal for this guy right here in terms of where he was looking at. Hey, he really needed that quarterback. We talked about this, and he said, I'll send the 204 there. That is kind of how the value is. So when you're looking at values, I hope those help just to show you how to gauge like, hey, where are guys going right now? Where are picks going and going forward? Now, the last thing I'm going to tell you guys, as far as your seconds and thirds, so you saw the Derek Carr move. The one thing you should be doing right now before the Super Bowl is go through your dynasty rosters and go through contracts right now. Look for possible cuts. So what I'm going to go through is go through my veteran cuts, especially at the running back position right now, because that running back position is going to be one of those positions that we just see kind of get decimated, right? We're going to see that running back position get decimated by the draft, by the free agent class that's coming in. I talk about it in my Football Guys big board, but that's going to be there. Go through there. highlight guys. Hey, this guy I feel like could be a sell or as a cut candidate. Someone that's going to get cut and we're going to lose all his value. Those are the dudes that I'm trying to move off my roster and churn my roster for seconds, but probably thirds, and try to get those guys off there. Now, like we talked about last video, diversify your trades. Don't go just after 23 seconds or 2023 thirds only. Try to get some 2024 thrown in there, especially maybe some lower tier guys. Like one good move is a guy that you're really struggling with, a dynasty guy that you're like, I just don't know what his asset's going to be moving forward, right? Maybe he has another good year next year, but he's just the type of guy like maybe Raheem Mostert or some of these guys that like are very auxiliary pieces, but maybe someone believes in them. Throw in a 2024 third, right? No one really thinks about the thirds in 2024 or anything like that. Just something to keep your roster young, churn it as much as possible, and that way you can kind of extract value from your draft picks. But that's what I would do with the 20 seconds and the thirds. Not necessarily names right now, but just look for guys on your roster that are aging, that could be cut candidates that you can maybe move, and before they get cut, and just get some type of value before the value dries up. That's the point of this. That's why I wanted to do this video. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Stay tuned with Football Guys. We got all kinds of dynasty content coming for you guys. We've been watching this class for years. We're here to help you. I'm here to help you with your management. Please, you see my @ there, at @DuBois_22 on Twitter. Follow me, but even if you don't, I don't care. Just DM me. Say, hey, I have this trade. This is what I like. You can always follow me on there and DM me and ask me questions about Dynasty. I'm here to help you guys. I love helping out the everyday manager, especially the Dynasty manager, and the guys that are new in this format. And just because it can be a very, very overbearing format, and it can be nerve-wracking for people diving in. So I appreciate you guys. Hit that like and subscribe button before you leave. Leave a comment. I will respond to it. I'll let you know what I think about the deal, especially if there are any 2023 firsts in there. So appreciate you guys. Talk to you guys next time.